Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We live in a world which is unpredictable, but there are always signs of the coming events, good or bad. Unfortunately, people as a whole cannot divine the real meaning of those actions which are pointers to impending disaster, can be for a nation, for a country. But the tragedy is that when the leaders of the country try to ignore those signs, then there is surely something. It can also be politics, they can be aware, and they are waiting for the opportune moment to take action. Or they can keep quiet and not be aware, blissfully ignore it. This is what happened in 1962 in India, when the Chinese invaded India and India was blissfully aware the army was least prepared for the action. This happened again in 1965. But the Indian army was not that ill prepared, so it countered successfully. It happened again in 1984. Government was aware. They were prepared for action. As a matter of fact, the Blue Star was proposed to be taken in 1982, November, when Atwal, DIG, Punjab Police, was shot dead at the gates of Golden Temple, Amritsar. But because of intervention of some Punjab leaders, one of whom happened to be at that time the Home Minister, the action was postponed, which is a disaster fact. Had that action been taken at that time, the tragedy that India underwent and the cleavage that it created between Hindus and Sikhs would not have been there. And such pointers are today visible. Unfortunately, no media is talking about it. And I can understand media not talking about it because they are not aware. But I was having a brainstorming with some of my friends, both in USA and in Tel Aviv. And we discussed these symptoms. And would you believe that all of them agreed with me that these are symptoms of an impending disaster which will create such a cleavage that the country might take another quarter of a century to recover. Seemingly very innocuous. And what happens? At the same time, some action takes place which diverts the attention of the people. Now, Punjab has been at the cusp of a problem, and Sikh militancy practically died. But the efforts by Pakistan promoted agents who purport to be the spearheading the Khalistani movement are always on the lookout. Unfortunately, those actions have to be interpreted, seen in the proper perspective, and preventive actions have to be taken. Recently, a drone was gunned down by the forces of India, and it was found to have lot of arms. This is not the first time it has happened. But these were much more sophisticated arms, including rocket launchers. Now you will be thinking, what are the signs of such an issue, which are being ignored by the media? And I don't know about the intelligence agencies of India, if the intelligence agencies in USA and in Tel Aviv are on the lookout and they are creating waves. Some information must have reached India, and with Ajit being a very competent person, I'm sure they are taking concrete action. Unfortunately, the position of CDC in India is still vacant, which needs to be filled. Now coming to the darkening clouds on the Indian horizon. Recently, STPC President, Sh੍ਰੋਮਣੀ Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee President, issued a call to all the Sikhs, buy arms. He wanted to protect himself and he didn't say buy unlicensed arms. He says get licenses and buy arms. No, getting license is not a problem. It's a police verification. And in India it's not very difficult to get any verification done. But this call by STPC President to the Sikhs to be armed is an ominous call. As a matter of fact, this is an indirect call to be ready for any action. I would be sure that 99.9% of the Sikhs are not militants. They are very peaceful, they are very loving, they are very patriotic. But 0.01%, a small minority, can create havoc. They may not succeed in their mission. But a religious leader sending calls and asking the people, exhorting them, is almost like a fatwa being issued. And STPC is the top organization of the Sikhs whose directives are heeded and listened to. It's quite possible it might be an innocuous call, but the hidden meaning cannot be ignored. Now, couple this or join this with another action of the STPC. Recently, they started calling for banning harmonium. Apparently, again, you would say it has nothing to do with it. But then, don't forget, the Rababis were 99% Muslims. And in 1947, they had gone to Pakistan. The tradition of Rabab singing in India received a setback. Of course, there are other instruments, taus and iktara and cymbals which are used. But either they are percussion, but the string instruments except for sitar and guitar, and they are not a part of the religious tradition, musical tradition of Sikhs. So again, the call would be to call the Rababis. And what better way than getting some people from Pakistan who may be very honest and may not be terrorists in disguise, but the possibility of some Pakistani agents in disguise, of Rababis, of devout singers, cannot be ruled out. Now, in intelligence services, we do not believe in that dictum that better spare 1,000 murders so that you don't hang one innocent man. That's okay as far as the justice is concerned. But when the fate of the country is concerned, when the security of the country is concerned, you don't take such an action. You always take preventive steps, look deep into it, and draw conclusions. These are what we call the straws in the winds. And these straws in the winds, and these are just two straws. Couple this now along with the other situations. Pakistan is on the verge of a collapse. What better way to divert the attention of the Pakistan people from the impending calamity, both political and financial. Financially, they are almost bankrupt. And that's why they are dashing to Saudi Arabia, they are dashing to IMF, they are dashing to Turkey. The Prime Minister of Pakistan is today in Turkey. So they want succor. The people, inflation is killing them. Shortage of food is there. So what better way than to say, we are in danger and we need to rescue. And if they can inflict harm on India, this is all the benefit. So you kill two birds with one stone. You divert the attention of the people and you harm your enemy whom you have perceived to be enemy for the last 75 years. And now what's Government of India doing? As I said, the position of CDS, chief of the defense services is still not been filled. I don't know why. It should have been. As a matter of fact, my thought was that when Navratne retires from being the army chief, he would automatically be made the chief of the defense services. And that would have been an ideal thing to do. He was the senior most among the service chiefs, most experienced, had full understanding of the Chinese issue as well as the Pakistan issue. So he could have coordinated all those activities which are not being coordinated today. They are being done by the Defense Secretary. But the CDC issue is extremely important and that's being ignored. So strategically, India has a vacuum at the top. As long as the CDC was not there, the post was not there, people had adjusted. But once you create something and then create a vacuum, that sends absolutely wrong signals to the services as well as to the enemy. Second is, no political leader, not the Prime Minister, not the Home Minister, not the Defense Minister, have alluded to this issue. This call by SGC President and call for banning harmonium. I agree that the best ignored, don't give oxygen to such statements. But what preventive steps they have taken? As far as my knowledge goes, they have not. When I was talking to the people in States or in Israel, I came to know that they have sent some messages to India to wake up. But possibly they have yet to reach the attention of the decision makers. So these darkening clouds are gathering. The old proverb, one swallow doesn't make a summer, so such two calls may be meaningless. Absolutely, I agree. There may be no substance in them. They may be just fears of the intelligence people. But the best thing is to take the opportunity with the horse and squash it. You cannot allow any such activity, but at least the Prime Minister, other Home Minister rather, should have condemned this statement by SGPC, and if not directly, they could have asked some Sikh organizations to do it. That why is this call to the Sikhs being made by the SGPC to buy arms? The purpose of SGPC is to manage the Gurdwaras, not to tell Sikhs to buy arms or not to buy arms. That's going beyond their legal responsibility. Then similarly call for banning harmonium. If the Prime Minister, the Home Minister does it, it would be considered to be interfering in the internal affairs of Sikhs. So the best thing would have been for some musical prodigies to reveal that harmonium is no longer a foreign element. If it is, then everything which is foreign, the loudspeaker they are using, the printing presses they are using, they should also be banned and revert back to the 15th century, which they would not do. But this opening of the door for the Rababis to come back, and I have nothing against Rababis, let me tell you, but the possibility of there being a cloak for some agents, agent provocateurs of the foreign country to come, and that foreign country may not be amiable country, it's an antagonistic country, is there. So these musical prodigies, leaders or associations could have said, no, harmonium is no longer instrument non grata, it's assimilated into it. And as a matter with the film music, if you see, harmonium is a major part of that. And if it can be that, why not go on? And then it has been there since 1942. From 1942 to 2022 is a long time. It has become a part of the music. So these two instances are just which came to my mind yesterday. And I thought, what are we doing? Are we really like ostriches burying our heads in the sand? I don't want to sound alarmist, no way. But I want to be realist. And I know earlier, if the action had been taken, for example, in 1982, things would not have been bad. 1984, much water had flown down the Sutlej. And then the people's passions had been excited much more in this 1.5 years. Delay in such cases is damaging and fatal. I would still want the Government of India to take some steps on the lines indicated so that the people, at least the nation, doesn't suffer. The people are not aware, I agree, but the nation is there, and you cannot play ducks and tricks with that, and you cannot permit anybody to do that, whosoever it may be. And the religious authority like SGPC has no problem, rather no issue and no reason to interfere in the temporal affairs. Advising Sikhs to buy arms can be full of diverse meaning, so better control it. Coupled with this, the drug use is increasing. And when you use drugs, enhance the use of drugs. And there is no call by the SGPC not to use drugs, which should have been there, because it's a socio-religious organization. So keeping all things in view, I feel it's imperative for the government to take some action and for the people to wake up that they are not misled or cheated into believing something which may not be there. Thank you.